We will continue to create drawings, and now we will create a drawing of the crankcase. So I will press and hold the control key and left click on the crankcase to select it in part level. Then I come up here to click Save as Part, and I will save it here on the hard drive. And we will also save the flywheel, so I will control left click and come up here to Save as Part and save the flywheel. Like so. And then we will save this scene so that all linked parts will be saved. So I come up here to click Save. Then we come up here to click on the template button, and here we will select A4P part, double click on this template, and the view creation window opens, and we come down to Browse, and we will select crankcase. We double click on the crankcase scene, and here we click the down arrow so that this hole will be pointing toward us, and then we will rotate the crankcase so that this pipe will be pointing upward. This will be the front view, and we need a view from the bottom, so I will click on this bottom view, and we will use standard scale 1:1 and click OK. Add the views to the right, because later we will create a section view, and that view will be placed here to the left. So now if we zoom in, we see that we have information about the M4 holes, and this dimension is placed inside the crankcase, so I will move it outside. And I would like to flip the direction of this knee, and to do that I can right click the dimension, come down here to select reverse knee direction. You can also use the shortcut Ctrl R to do that. So I will click here, and we have the same problem here, so I will grab it and press Ctrl R, like so. At the same time we see that we have 4 dimensions, and it is the same dimension, and these 4 holes are linked. So instead of having 4 dimensions on this view, you can use only 1 dimension and add the information that there are 4 M4 holes. So and to do that you can come over to the properties and add that information here, for instance in postfix. But perhaps you remember from the last video that when we created the drawing of the cylinder, if we right click this sheet, we can go to sheet setup, and here we have a setting. If you check this box, it will auto hole count. It means that every hole that has the same size and are linked, they will be counted, and the information about how many holes there are will be added to the dimension text. Well, if you want this setting to be set to use it in every drawing you're creating, you have to save this sheet as a template with this setting set. But in our case, we will not save this sheet as a template, so I will click cancel here. So instead of saving the sheet as a template with that information, I will select this dimension, come over to the properties, and here in postfix I will click here in this box, then I will press space once, and then I will type left parenthesis, then 4x for 4 times, and right parenthesis, and hit enter. So now I have this information here. So now I can hide the other 3. So I will right click this dimension and choose hide, and I will do the same with this one and that one. Then I will select the view, come over to the properties and show hidden edges. Check that box so we see the hidden edges. Then I come up to this view, and I will do the same here. I will save this dimension, I will move it here to this position, and then I will come over to the properties, click here inside the postfix box and press space once, then left parenthesis 4 times, right parenthesis, and hit enter. Then I can hide the other 3, so I will right click this dimension and this one as well and click on hide, like so, and then I will select the view, come over here to check this box to show hidden edges. And next we will add center marks, so I come up here to click center mark, click on this hole and these four, and then I come down here to this view and do the same, add center marks, and then I will create a section view of this view. So I will first click apply and exit, then I come up here to select section view, and we come over to the properties. Here we select vertical section line, and then I click here on the midpoint of this edge or line, and I will drag this endpoint so that this part of the section line will be outside the crankcase. So I will do the same with this one, like so. Then we have to flip direction of the arrows, so I will come over to the properties and click this button, flip direction, and then I will click apply and exit and place the section view here. And we need to add some center lines here as well, so we come over here to center line, and I will click here inside this pipe and also inside this hole, and press escape to exit the command, and I will grab this endpoint and drag it through and shorten this end a bit. So now it's time to dimension the crankcase. So I come up here to select Smart Dimension, and I will begin to dimension this hole. So I will click here and on this side, and we see that there is no diameter sign, so I will come over to the properties, click here in the prefix box, click the down arrow, select the diameter sign, and then I will press a space after the diameter sign and use this line as a reference line so that I will place the dimension text 12 millimeters from this line here, like so. And then we will dimension this hole. So I'll click here and here on this side, and there is no diameter sign here. And at the same time we see that the arrows are placed outside the extension lines. And the distance between the extension lines are enough to place the arrows on the inside. So why are they placed on the outside? Well, that's because of the length of the first line I clicked on. I will soon explain why. But first I will add a diameter sign. So I will come to the properties, click here on prefix, add a diameter sign, add a space. Then I will hover the cursor over this line to place it 10 millimeters from this dimension. And then we will place the arrows on the inside, so I will right click this dimension, come here to flip inside, outside arrow, and the shortcut is Ctrl F, but I will click here now. And the reason why the arrows sometimes will be placed on the outside is if I click on this line, we will see that now the arrows are placed on the outside of the extension lines, and that's because of the length of the first line. So IronCAD calculates that the distance between the extension lines is too narrow to place the arrows on the inside because of the length of the first line I clicked on. So the setting is already set. So then it doesn't matter how long this line is or the distance between the extension lines, because the setting is already set because of the length of the first line. So in this case I use Ctrl F to flip the arrows to the inside, and then I will also add a diameter sign. So I will click here in this prefix box and diameter sign, add a space, then I will hover the cursor over this line and click to place it 12 millimeters from the edge. So then I will come up here to dimension the hole. I will click on this side and this side, and I will add a diameter sign here and a space, and I will click here, and we also dimension the outside of this pipe, add a diameter sign and a space, and then I will place the dimension there. Then I press the escape key to exit the Smart Dimension command. Well, now I would like to add tolerance to this hole. So I will select the dimension and right click, and here we have tolerance. So I'll click here, and in this dialog box we can select this box to show tolerance. So here you can add above value and below value when you have this style selected. If you select this style, the above value is available but not the below value, because it's not needed when you have this style selected. Then you have positive tolerance and negative tolerance. But I will use this option, use ISO code system for tolerances. So I will check this box, and here I will choose H7 and click OK, and I will click OK here. Then I will move the dimension text to the outside of the extension line. And we know that if I grab this text now and drag, I will also move the dimension line vertically. To avoid to move the dimension line vertically, I can press and hold the Control key before I grab the text. So now I will left click and hold the text and drag the mouse to the right. Now I can move the text without moving the dimension line vertically by pressing the Control key. So I will drop the text here, like so. Next I will dimension the height, or the depth of the hole and the height of the crankcase. So I will come up here to select Smart Dimension again, and I will zoom in a bit. If you click this line to dimension the depth of this hole, you will see that it is 5 millimeters. And if we have the cursor over this line, you might think that if I click here, the dimension will be placed 12 millimeters from this edge. So I will click here, but we see now it will dimension the distance between these two lines. And that's because IronCAD thinks that you're going to dimension the distance between these two lines. So I will press Escape here. So I'll select the Smart Dimension again. So to dimension the depth of this hole, I have to click on this line first, and then this line, and then you can click here on this line as a reference line. And now you can press Ctrl F to flip the arrows to the outside. So I will zoom out, and I will continue to dimension. I will click on this line here. Instead of using zoom, you can also use the magnifying glass by pressing the G key. And here you can click on this line here, then press the G button again, and you can place the dimension here. I will click here to place it 10 millimeters from this dimension. Then I use the Ctrl F shortcut to place the arrows on the inside. So I will continue to dimension. I will click on this line, and I will use the G key to find this line here, and then G key again to remove the magnifying glass. I use this dimension line as a reference, and Ctrl F. Click here again, come up here, use the G key, click on this line here, and G key again, and I will place the dimension text here, and Ctrl F to flip the arrows to inside. And then I will press Escape to exit the dimension command. Now I would like to place the dimension text diagonal, so it will be easier to read the drawing. So I will select this dimension text, and then I will shift select 50 and 43 and 5. Then I come up here to Common, and here we have Distribute command, distribute horizontally and vertically. In this case we will select Distribute vertically. So now it will be easier to read these dimensions. And then I select this view and move it to the left a little bit, so it will be a distance between this dimension and this view. Next step, we will create a breakout section of this area. So I will select the Home tab first, then I will zoom in, and if I select this view, we find broken out section here under Actions, or you can also find it here in the View tab. You have broken out section. but I will select this one. And when you create a broken out section, you will also come to the Sketch tab, because you have to draw the area where you want to have the broken out section. So I will select the polyliner command, and I will draw the area where I want the broken out section, like so. Then I press escape to exit the polyline command. We come over to the properties. We have to set the depth of this broken out section. So I will click this button, and the depth will be 5 millimeters, because that hole is positioned 5 millimeters from the edge from both sides. So we'll type 5 here and click OK. So now we have the broken out section here. So now we can dimension the depth of the hole and the position of the hole. But this center mark is not necessary right now, because it is for a hole that we don't see. So I will select it and press delete. And then I will go over to the Home tab, because we need to add a center line here. So I will come up here to select center line, and I will click on this line here and this line to add it in the center. I will click apply and exit, and I will extend this center line a bit. Come up here to select Smart Dimension, and I will dimension the position of the hole. So I will click here and on this line. Then I will place the dimension here. I will click here. It will be placed 12 millimeters from the edge. Then we will also dimension the depth of the hole. So I will click on this line and that line, and use Ctrl F to flip the arrows to the outside and place it 12 millimeters from the edge, like so. So now we go down here to this view, and we will do the same here. We will create a broken out section of this part of the crankcase. First, I will press the escape to exit the Smart Dimension command. Then I will select the view, come over here to Actions and select Broken Out Section. And here I will select Polyline, and I will draw the area where I want to have the broken out section. And then I press escape to exit the command. Come over here to set the depth, and I will type 5 and click OK. And I will delete this center mark and add a center line here. So I will click on this line and this line to get a center line in the center. I will click apply and exit and extend this center line a bit. So now I can use Smart Dimension to dimension the position of the hole. So I will click here and this line and place it here, and also the depth of the hole. I will click on this line and this line, and I will use Ctrl F and place the dimension here. Then I press escape to exit the Smart Dimension command. So now we have dimensioned the crankcase, and you can add more dimensions if you want to. Then we come down here, we will change this text. I will double click the text and I will change that to Stirling Engine. And you can also add material, and you do that by right clicking this view here, right click and go to Edit Scene. And in the 3D scene you can add the material by using the tool Set Material in ICM Tools. And you can set the material you want the crankcase to have. You will have the right material and the right weight. So I will double click the middle mouse button, and then I will save this drawing, and it will be saved as crankcase. I will click save, and then I will close the drawing.